Hi, it's Hans at ahappierman.com. Today's topic is happier at work. Even with the digital world and how things have changed with this COVID situation, and how a lot of people may be migrating into a work for yourself type of an arrangement, I think it still is good for you to think in terms of how do you most be happy at work. I guess I'm very, very, very happy with the job I have. I've had this current one for about 2 years now, and it keeps getting better and better. It's kind of like this, maybe almost a capstone job on a rewarding engineering career for myself, and I just hope that people can all get to the point where they love their work, what they're doing, where you love to go in each day and produce and do whatever your job or your work or your career or your business entails. And I think, I've got a few things that I think will help you in that. So the first thing is, whatever you're doing, try to get really, really good at it. That when you're really, really good at it, then typically your managers and the people above you and the people around you provide you a lot of discretion in how you go about doing your job, because they know you're good at it, and you don't have to do a lot of explaining what you're up to and why you're doing things. You just do it without having to really explain what you're doing. You just do it, right? So the getting good at it and being the person who knocks out the work at a rapid pace and becomes the go-to person in whatever you're doing is kind of the easiest way for other people to back off and leave you be to work, right? You don't have to answer a lot of questions about what are you up to, because they know you're just busy producing. And that's the only times I've ever struggled in work is if there was an impression that I wasn't working. But truthfully, it doesn't happen that much, right? Once it becomes evident that you're working and you're working at a high level, your bosses are going to will leave you alone to just do that. And that's a really good feeling. It's a very, very good feeling. And I've always had this in every job, but it usually takes a little bit of time to do that, right? Your boss, you start a new job, they don't know that you're a high producer, right? They're assuming you're going to slack off and bag off and not work that hard, and they're going to have to hound you to get something out of you, right? That's what they might assume. Well, you don't want that. You want the opposite. You want them to think that you're going to produce and do a great job for them, and then they can reward you with you being left alone. And that's what I love, the feeling of being left alone to just do what I need to do. But also realizing that there's some things that I'm working on that are kind of real critical elements, and I let the management know what those critical elements are. I brief them so they're not blindsided. They know what's going on, and it has to do with bragging about what you're doing, right, and keeping track of it in a way that you can explain it to them concisely and easily and remind them at opportune times. So that's a very, very good thing to do. What else to be happier at work? Well, you might need to keep changing jobs until you get to the point where you're happy. You don't always do this right the first time. Let's say my first major job out of grad school, it was very, very good. I stayed there a few years, went to another job that job quickly became something that was very, very bad. I went back to the good job. And I carried out that job for many, many, many more years, doing a good job. But eventually, I kind of wore out of it. Wanted to do something else, and I did that. And the next job was quite good. I did that for a long time, but eventually, it isn't quite right. I got to do something different. Got something good. Went to something, did that for a while. Went to something else. Thought it would be good. Wasn't. Left. Now I'm here. Right. So I've changed jobs many times over my career. When the one I had was unsatisfactory. I don't think it pays for you to stay in an unsatisfactory job for a very long period of time. You may have to gut it out and do this briefly here and there, while you're earning an income, but I wouldn't make a practice of staying at places for years after you know that it's no good. I would think in terms of the months it takes to get something new is what you could put up with a poor situation. Months, not years. Usually you can put up with something bad for a few months while you're finding something better, but trying to expect to have a good life working a job that you hate for years on end, I think you're fooling yourself that you'll be able to have a good, happy, satisfying life. What else? Well, you want the job to have enough income that rewards you, that you can live a good life working it and not have to cobble together all kinds of different jobs in order to survive, right? So the income, you got to be the high enough income. The research would show that you probably need to make up around $75,000 a year as you get older in order for your income to be good enough to be considered happy long term. So if you make considerably less than $75,000, it's very difficult to be happy long term because you're always going to be scraping for money, right? You won't make enough long term. You'll be able to get by with less, but you want to keep trying to rise up to that higher level. And obviously, if you make a lot more, or a lot more, well, yeah, then you can buy more. Everything becomes easier and easier and easier. But the research would show that when you make a lot of money, a lot more than that, you might have to be working at a very, very high level, and you might have to be working a lot of hours. So if you want some free time to do other things, you might have to scale back your ideas on how much you make per year. Certainly if making a lot of money is your goal, that can be done with working hard, get in the right field, keep moving, and trying making that your goal, but be willing to work plenty of time in order to get that. And it isn't so much that you make it per the hour. That's not really what I mean. It's more that some jobs, because of their nature, you got to put in a lot of time in order to create that excess, that larger income. What else? Well, you want benefits too, right? If you don't have any benefits of any kind, you have to make a lot more money in order to make up for the lack of benefits. So if you're going to work for somebody else, they ought to provide you some good quality of life benefits. And if you're working for yourself, you would know you got to make enough money above a good rate to live on to make up for the lack of benefits. And you should like what you do, but the liking it will become, if you get good at it, you'll probably like it. And if it isn't satisfactory for you for whatever reason, that probably means you don't like it. So I think those are kind of the main things, right? To get good at it, to be willing to move on if you keep trying, to get decent, good pay and benefits. maybe the caveat would be if the thing you're doing for a living is something that you can be happy with in the doing, meaning you think it contributes to the world's success. If it doesn't contribute to the world's success, well, then I don't know how you could be happy doing that kind of work, right? You have to have it has to be something that's contributing, not positively, not negatively. So anyway, give that idea some thought, all for now.